On this episode of the History of the Chorus podcast with Curtis and Josh, we take a look at the music trio known as Fall of Troy. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings. And make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. Make sure to check us out on TikTok and give us a follow at IsSurvivedByProductions. Without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta. Army surrounded.
Welcome back to the History of the Chorus podcast, where each and every episode we take a look at the history of a band from the core genre. I'm Curtis.
And I'm Josh.
Josh, how's it going, man?
Good. How does this sound?
Sounds great, man.
Is that good? All right.
Sounds great. How's the microphone situation?
The microphone stand is my arm now. So
That's great, man. That's great. That's terrific. Sounds
not
like
the
you are
best.
living your best life, man.
but as long as this sounds better than it did before, I'm okay with it.
Yes, it sounds good. Yes, it
All
sounds
right.
great.
Perfect.
Terrific. All right, man. You excited to talk about the band that we're about to talk about?
I'm very excited to talk about this band.
Is this one of your favorite bands?
I don't know if they're one of my favorites, but I do really enjoy them.
It's a good little discography.
Yeah.
The band that we're talking about, folks, is the band known as Fall of Troy. Josh, I want to get your opinion on this band, kind of stylistically, maybe lyrically too. How would you describe Fall of Troy to somebody brand new who's never even heard of them before? What are they in for?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
There's just so much going on there.
Oh,
It's just what's happening.
half your body disappeared.
Oh,
my
God.
gosh.
I'm disappearing in the snap. Yeah. God, man, I don't know, because it's definitely chaotic.
Right.
You know, you got to hope you're somebody who's maybe into like the Chariot or
It's a little more. It's tight. It's like a Titan version. The more structured version, I should say, of like a Chariot. It's got that chaos, but it's definitely more. I care about my instrument and being able to really play it. Not that the guy from the Chariot couldn't play it. It's just, and we talked about before, once you got the live versions of the Chariot, which is kind of like, hey, I'm just gonna make a bunch of noise here.
yeah.
And that's one thing that I really like about Fall of Troy is the instrumentation, especially the guitar from Thomas Iraq. Just the fact that like some of the notes that he's playing during a song and like singing or screaming at the same time, that's just insane.
Yeah, he's playing the lead part and singing like a melody while he's just shredding. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
that
not
was
just
the
like
first,
chords, strumming or anything. Yeah.
yeah. That was what really blew me away about them.
Right. But I think that's to me, like I said, that's like the best part, I feel like, of Fall of Troy is the instrumentation, but not just like the guitar. I mean, it's like it starts with the guitar, but I mean, the bass is so good and the drums just go so hard. And yeah, and they play a lot of like up tempo, like really fast in your face music a lot of times. Now they do slow it down every once in a while, but yeah, it's just kind of like it's almost like Thomas is like, all right, you guys keep up with me, and it's just like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's super chaotic. Like there's a lot of crazy melodies
A
going
lot
on
of
there.
chaos, maybe.
Like there's a lot of chaos, but there's also like I don't know, it's weird. It combines complete chaos with like perfect structure.
Right. It's nice. That's probably why we like it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get on in it here, man. We'll start off with the genre that they are under. I know, I know. In the Chariot episode, you kind of made a comment about this, and I'm wondering if you're still kind of on board with it. They are under the category of mathcore. Are you still kind of like on the fence about that with them, or what?
No, I agree with that.
Okay. Okay. But I thought you had said something about I mean they call Fall of Troy mathcore, but that's really stretching it. And I was kind of like, no, I agree with them being mathcore.
Yeah.
So
I kind of felt like I had made a like I had pushed too much that they were mathcore and then had kind of backstepped that, a little bit of the like, oh, I don't know. But yeah, I would agree with that. Like
okay. Okay.
somebody's always going to take issue with
Well, and
some label that
yeah,
you're giving to, some
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm just playing music. Why do we have to put a label on it? Yeah, but anyway. So they're under the
Well,
genre of
it'd be
what?
really disappointing if every genre was just called music and then you were like, you wanted to listen to something like this, you turned it on and you got like Taylor Swift.
Right, right. Well, but I feel like when you get to the point of like that, it's like I want to listen to something in, the post-hardcore, and you go listen to a band that's, technically under the post-hardcore, but then you're kind of like, oh, that's not post-hardcore. And it's like, I mean, come on though. It's got elements of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it gets to a point where you start getting into debates but I mean, I guess that's why you have shows like this to tell you all about it.
To tell you what you think about those albums.
Exactly.
We can tell
Oh
you
man.
exactly how to feel.
Speaking of Taylor Swift, man, were you able to get your
Be
tickets?
careful. Be careful.
Oh
Tread
man.
lightly, my friend.
Let's move on before we get too far down a rabbit hole that we don't want to go into. Okay, back to genres here of Fall of Troy. We got mathcore, we've got post-hardcore, we've got math rock and progressive rock. And again, Fall of Troy are known for their technical and dynamic style, unorthodox song structures, and energetic stage presence. All right, Josh.
Unorthodox, not orthodox.
Unorthodox. All right, man. Let's dive on into this history here, Josh, shall we?
Dive on in.
Dive on in. All right. The band was formed in 2002 in Washington, in the little city known as. Oh, I always forget how to say this, and I'm always going to butcher it. That's why I have pronunciations pulled up on my phone. It is.
Mukilteo?
Oh, hold on.
Mukilteo?
Mukilteo.
Mukilteo.
Mukilteo. I wonder if that's Indian.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah, that sounds Indian. Anyway, Mukilteo, Washington, formed in 2002 by vocalist and guitarist Thomas Arack and Mike Monroe on guitar under the name The 30 Years War. Now, wait a minute, Curtis. I thought we were talking about a band called Fall of Troy. We are. The band started under the name 30 Years War. Did you know that, Josh?
I did not know that.
All right, man. I'm blowing his mind, people. I'm blowing his
Already.
mind. All righty. This is a good start, people. This is a good start. All right. So we got 30 Years War started by Thomas Arack and Mike Monroe. Soon, Andrew Forsman on drums would join, along with Tim Ward on bass. So you got the first official lineup. The 30 Years War is Thomas Arack on vocals, guitar, Mike Monroe on guitar, Tim Ward on bass, and Andrew Forsman on drums. Now, the band would quickly put out an EP, 2002's Martyrs Among the Casualties EP. This is a self-released. We got songs on here by the names of A Tribute to Orville Wilcox, Chain Wallet, Nike Shoes, Tears of Green-Eyed Angels, Mirrors Are More Fun Than Television, Reassurance Rests in the Sea, The Day the Strength of Men Failed, which is a reference to Lord of the Rings. And the final song, I like this, Knife Fight at the Mormon Church. Noise. Josh, did you go when we were kind of getting ready this past week? Did you go back and listen to this album?
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you think of the production quality?
Not great,
No, not
but
great at all.
not great, but it's like it's there with the first couple Every Time I Die albums, I feel
Right.
like I don't know, I still liked it. It wasn't
That's what I
unlistenable for
yeah.
me. Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it. I was honestly surprised. I really didn't think I was going to enjoy it, especially with the production sound and everything. But by the end of it, dude, I was actually pretty impressed. Especially with like the guitar work and the vocals and everything like that. Now, we won't talk about it in this episode. It'll be in the next one, but remember this album if you can, Josh. And remember these, let's see, 7 songs because they will be used later on the
Yeah.
2020 album.
I was gonna say, don't pretty much all of these songs make it to
Yes.
Doppelganger?
Yep. No, not Doppelganger. 2020 album. Was it Mokel Earth? Mokel Earth?
The 2020 album.
Yeah.
Oh,
The album that was released in 2020.
yeah.
They re-record all 7 of those songs and then add a couple more songs to it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I did
remember
not
all
know
that.
that.
Yeah. Remember all that. And we will talk about that when we get to that album in the next episode. This next album that they released was an EP. It would be the final one under the name 30 Years War. I thought was actually pretty interesting for a band that's starting up. It's called Live at the Paradox EP. Obviously, this was another self-release, but this album was recorded live at a concert that they did locally. Songs on this album include Spartacus / Rockstar Nail Bomb, Reassurance, Rest in the Sea. Okay, here we go. FCP, SIT, SGEP, GEP, GEP, which makes no sense at all. The band has actually come out and said several times about that song that gets re-recorded several times over the next couple of years or next couple of albums that the meaning is pointless. There is no meaning, so don't even try to figure it out. There's also Mouths Like Sidewinder Missiles, The Adventures of Alan Gordon, and last but not least, a tribute to Orville Wilcox. The thing that I liked about this album was, again, the being a live version, especially for a young band. You know, you make your living as a startup band doing concerts. I mean, obviously, you know, that's how you get your name out there big time. And I just kind of feel like it was kind of cool to put that on a CD and release that to everybody. You know, I mean, usually we get something like that. If you got that from a band, it would be like way later on when they're already popular and everything. So it was kind of interesting to me to see that when they were still pretty young, well, still in their first year of being a band together. So, got any comments, Josh?
Nope.
Nope. My comment is, when do we get to Fall of Troy?
That one I don't think I could find. I think I was looking for that one.
It's on YouTube.
Is it? Okay, I could never find one
it's
that like said it was them live at
I think you just have to
Paradox.
I think you just have to look up Live at the Paradox EP.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now it's not like just like one video where it's, you know, like, you know, 30 some odd minutes long or whatever. It's, I think the ones I found was just like individual songs and like a
Oh,
playlist or
okay.
whatever. Yeah.
Maybe that's
So,
one.
all right. So you have those first 2 EPs back to back in 2002 under the name of 30 Years War. But just as the band was about to head into the recording studio, guitarist Mike Monroe quit the band due to other commitments. So naturally, leaving the trio, wondering, okay, what's next? They decided, let's change our name. Let's kind of start fresh. We want to be the Febreze brothers. Let's start fresh in here, man. So they decided to change their name to the Fall of Troy or Fall of Troy. and continue on as a trio instead of finding another member to replace Mike Monroe. Now, supposedly the band picked this name by opening up a textbook and pointing to a particular subject on the first page that they would turn to and would find a phrase that they liked. Now, apparently they did this for the 30 Years War name also. And that's how they came up with Fall of Troy. So your first official lineup for Fall of Troy is Thomas Arack on vocals, guitar, Tim Ward on bass, and Andrew Forsman on drums. You got something to say there? I thought you were going to say something.
No, I didn't know that on that. I'm still stuck on that. The 2020 album is mostly those songs. But I got to be honest with you, like I remember that one getting released and I didn't listen to it
The
because
2020 album.
yeah, because I remember listening to
Okay.
a couple tracks off of In the Unlikely Event and then a
Oh,
couple
okay.
of tracks off of Okay.
Okay.
And then I was like, yeah, this is not hitting for me.
Okay.
I do think I listened to a little bit of Phantom on the Horizon, but it's like the later stuff that I was like,
Just wasn't doing it for you.
yeah. At least the
Okay.
tracks that I had heard, it was enough for me to be like, I'm just gonna.
See, I haven't listened to I've heard a couple of songs. Um obviously Doppelganger and Manipulator. Those are the two big ones that I've listened to growing up when I first discovered them back in high school. But, I mean, I didn't know anything about, 30 Years War until, I'm starting to do this. And then I hadn't even listened to the next album that we're going to talk about, their debut album under the name Fall of Troy. Um, and then obviously I haven't listened to either of the two newest albums, Okay, or the 2020 album. And I've waited on those until we do the next episode to really listen to that. But me personally, I think with the 2020 album, I'm curious on that one because of the fact that I liked the songs that were on Martyrs Among the Casualties. And so with those being re-recorded and put on the newest album, I'll be really interested to see how they turned out and if I enjoy it or not. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. But yeah, but I haven't listened to I hadn't heard the Phantom EP. I guess that's the only other one. Yeah. So yeah, Doppelganger and Manipulator were basically the two growing up that I listened to and I knew about. So which I think that's probably like your sweet spot for Fall of Troy fans, wouldn't you think?
Where
I
at?
mean, Doppelganger and Manipulator.
Yeah. I mean, probably the self-titled through Manipulator,
Manipulator. Yeah. Okay.
because that's all
All
kind of
right.
one sound, I feel like.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, with the name change, the band would go on to sign with a small label named Lujo Records that would put out their self-titled debut album, 2003's The Fall of Troy from Lujo Records. Now, fun fact for you, Josh, all three members at the time of this recording were 17, still in high school, still young pups.
Yeah, I did
And
find some pictures of them where they don't look anything like they do behind you there.
no, they do not. No,
This
they do
is
not.
this is a while into the drugs.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. I wonder. This is probably like after the hiatus, I think, isn't it? The picture behind me, I think it is.
Probably.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. So anyway, the members being 17, still in high school. This album was actually recorded in 1 week's worth of time, and it was actually over spring break. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah. Woo, spring break.
Sick.
Sick, man. All right. Songs on this album include Rockstar, Nail Bomb, Spartacus. My personal favorite off this album, The Circus That Has Brought Us Back to These Nights, Yo Chocola. Mouths Like Sidewinder Missiles, The Last March of the Ents, Here we go again. FCPSITSGEPGEPGEP. Wacko Jacko steals the Elephant Man's moans. Reassurance rests in the sea. The Adventures of Alan Gordon. I just got this symphony going. And what does a mastodon make? What sound does a mastodon make? I wanted to ask you specifically, Josh, about obviously they're going to on the next full-length album have the FC premix re-recorded. What do you think about this version on their self-titled debut album?
I like it.
Do you like it? Okay,
Mhm.
that's interesting. I honestly didn't think you would say that, but I'm not gonna lie, I liked it too. I do like FC premix.
It becomes, and like when you know like where it goes, it becomes one
Right.
of their best songs. Like they're one of
Well,
their big staple songs.
right. And I think for me, knowing again, like you're saying, you know what's coming next, with the tempo change and everything. So I feel like going after knowing that version of it and now going back to this version, it almost sounds like a bonus track remix that they did for it, or
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting.
It's the How to Build Your Sandcastle of this album.
Of FC Premix, yeah, exactly. Yep. Do you have a favorite on this?
I did want to before I
Oh,
forget.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
So the breakup, it looks like the breakup was 2009 to 2013. And then they came back with Okay. So that
Yeah,
would have
16.
like this all would have been this kind of like set the timeline, this all would be pre. Yeah, and I don't know, like them in that picture there, like I'm not sure where in the trying to fit in there. God. Yeah, I'm not sure where that fits in the timeline.
You're talking about the picture?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you're talking about. I was like, what are we talking about?
Almost looks like pre.
You think pre? Okay. I was thinking post, man.
I don't know. I'll have to see.
I don't know. Yeah.
On this one, favorite tracks, I really like what do you think? Maybe not my favorite track on this one is, but what do you think is gonna be my go-to on this one? If you
On
gotta
this
pick one
album,
song on here,
it's not your favorite, you're saying, right? Or it
no,
is?
but it'd be like number two. But this one really is like it goes along with Once Nothing song that was one of my favorites in the last one.
It's not the acronym, right?
No.
Okay. Dang. I'm gonna guess.
Come on.
Is it Mouse like Sidewinder missiles?
No.
Okay, wait, hold on. Is it the last March of the Ents?
No. That's
Is it
Lord of the
Rockstar
Rings.
Nail Bomb?
No.
Is it Spartacus?
No. He's going down the list now.
Is it okay? Last
It's
guess. Is it Wacko Jacko?
no.
Dang. Okay, go ahead.
Reassurance rests in the sea.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is that?
Why is that one my favorite?
Well,
Or like
why are you picking that song? What's doing it for you?
I just really like it.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. We made it sound like there was more deeper to it or something.
Yeah, no, it's just got like some riffs that stand out the most to me, like on this
Okay.
album. So
Okay. So in relation to the picture behind me, the picture comes from an article that was written in 2016. So I'm not saying that picture is from 2016, but I would guess that that's what that's from. You know what I mean?
yes.
Okay.
That was
Did I
muted.
lose you? I can't even see you. Okay. Reassurance rest in the sea. Okay, well then let me ask you this then, because Seer, that song was on their previous two albums. Obviously, you didn't get to listen to Live at the Paradox, but what did you think of it on Martyrs Among the Casualties then?
Which one?
Reassurance rest in the sea.
It was just more polished, I feel like.
Okay.
Like it's
Okay.
still raw, but it's tighter. Like
Okay.
it's, you know.
Well, and I mean, there's songs that I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there's songs from bands that have been re-recorded that it was like, oh, I really like it re-recorded, but I don't want to say I hate it like as the raw version, but it's just like it's just not good, you know.
What do you think about
Like Sandcastle.
yeah, that's true. It sounds so good on
It's so good,
First
dude.
Came the
On
Law. And
yes,
then
dude.
yeah, then the raw first version is so disappointing.
Yeah.
Um, what did you think about it eventually becomes Macaulay McCulkin, but I can't remember the name of the original track.
That's on this album?
It might be on the next one. It was just
I was
because
about to
we were
say,
talking about like the first,
oh,
you know,
okay. I was about to say
the
on
original
yeah.
version versus the polished version.
On the next album that we're going to talk about, it's a demo um album, like demo EP or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's got the demo version of McCulkin. And it's just titled Macaulay McCulkin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Um,
realize it was the same name on. Okay,
yes.
gotcha.
Yeah. I'll tell you my opinion here in just a moment. Let's finish this one up, unless you got something else to say about the self-titled album.
Um, no, I mean it's got a few songs that eventually come back around. Um,
Yeah, I would say several
it's
songs that are going to get re-recorded again.
yeah.
Oh,
Wacko Jacko, I just got the symphony going. Those are both on Doppelganger,
Mouse
uh,
like Sidewinder, and obviously FCP and such.
SCP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this album was met with high praise and would be reissued in 2006 by the band's later record label, Equal Visions Records. Now, let's talk about the album that we were kind of mentioning just a second ago, Josh. 2004's Ghost Ship Demos, which was self-released. Now, these demos are tied to the EP that comes later on after Manipulator, which is the was it Phantom on the Horizon? Is that what it's called? I think it's called Phantom on the Horizon
Yes.
EP.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, there are 4 demos on this album. Three of those 4 demos would be used later on the Phantom of the Horizon EP. And a little fun fact: friend of the band Jesse Erickson will be playing keyboards on this demo album. Songs on this album include Part 1, Part 4, Part 5, and the demo version of Macaulay McCulkin, which would be used on the next album. You were asking me, Josh, what my opinion was on this track. Is that what you're going to ask me on the demo version of it?
Yes.
I liked it. Interesting to me that, especially like the first line in this version compared to the first line in Doppelganger version, is unclean vocals versus clean vocals in the next one. I like both versions. Both versions are really good. They have some really good parts to them. What do you think?
I like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I went back and forth a little bit. I was like, I don't know which one I like better. Like
Okay.
obviously the one on Doppelganger is more polished and it
Right.
sounds better, but this one I just like the way it's laid out, yeah, with they swap around the clean and the dirty vocals, so much that it's kind of hard to tell sometimes like what they're gonna put, are they
They're
gonna
gonna put
go
where?
with
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it.
What do you think about the other 3 tracks, the tracks that would actually end up be using on Phantom of the Horizon?
I liked them. I didn't have like I have a track list now for it, but when I listened to it on YouTube, that
Yeah.
it's not separated.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoy I was actually surprised how much I like this album. Um, I know it's just demos, but You know me, I like the raw sound sometimes. But yeah, this is honestly, it's probably one of my favorite. I mean, I guess you could call it an album again from Fall of Troy. Obviously, you know, you got Doppelganger Manipulator and stuff like that, but this is actually, I enjoy listening to this album on repeat. Um, Man, the drums, especially like when you get kind of like to the climax part of that first song, which is like 10 minutes long, the drums on there, dude, just gets so sick to me. Yeah, I was really surprised that I enjoyed this album more than I thought I would. But yeah. So you got 2004 as a Ghost Ship Demos. The band would sign on with Equal Vision Records. And on the advice of the record company, the band recorded 2 demos to promote the upcoming album Doppelganger. Those 2 songs are Tom Waits and Laces Out, Dan. So let's talk about it, Josh. 2005's Doppelganger from Equal Vision Records. Do you remember the first time? Well, let me back up. Was this the first album you were introduced to for Fall of Troy?
Yes.
It was a manipulator. Okay, it was this one.
Yeah.
So did you just stumble upon it yourself? Did somebody else show it to you? And what were your like initial thoughts?
No, this kid that I really hated liked the Fall of Troy.
Okay.
And
And to get back at him, I decided I'm gonna like it too.
no, but it wound up like really making him kind of hate me more because he was super like gatekeepy of that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
He didn't think we were worthy enough to listen to Fall of Troy and know about Fall of Troy.
Is this somebody I know? Because this sounds familiar.
I don't know, maybe.
Okay. Okay. I feel like I know who this person is. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You know who you are.
You know who you are.
Oh man. Yeah, what was your initial reaction to the album listening to it?
Kind of the same thing. I mean, at that point, it's starting to get into the more chaotic stuff. And yeah, I remember instantly liking this album. Probably, I mean, I got to imagine the first track I heard off of it was probably
Right,
FCP Remix. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I didn't even get to ask you this earlier, but just now dawned on me. Have you seen Fall of Troy live?
no, I wish.
Man, yeah. That would have been good, especially back in the heyday like that, around
Yeah.
Doppelganger Manipulator.
I don't ever remember like hearing about them coming to town.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some bands just like to makes me think of like Mailing when they were kind of in their prime around like 2 and 3. Like they stayed more in like the South, and it was like rare if they ever like, especially if they ever went like north or like northwest. I don't even think Mailing's ever been to at least Tulsa or Oklahoma or whatever, area. But
Yeah, they totally have.
oh, they have. Okay.
Yeah, they opened for Devil Wears Prada at the other side one time.
Nice. Did you see him?
No, I didn't get
No,
tickets and
okay.
it was sold out by the time we found out about it.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know who the opener was. And then when I saw that, I was like, no, like, are you kidding me?
No.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
like
boy.
that was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
'Cause that would have been like probably 2. Yeah, that would have
Okay.
been during
That would have
2.
been a great time to go, man. Yep, for
Yeah,
sure.
so that would have been
Been
something.
playing. It was like been playing nothing but 1 and 2. Ugh, man. Yeah, that
Ugh,
would have been really good.
God, that makes my heart
Oh
hurt.
god, so good.
I feel like I don't go, I don't go to a lot of shows now, but if I could, like, I would in a heartbeat if I could go to that show, see them play those 2 albums back then.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Did I ever get an answer out of you on what you thought about the new song?
Yeah, my answer was I liked it, but there's a cautious optimism of first off, if we're even going to get an album because they haven't even like said that they're going to put out an album. That was just like some random single. Um, but I'm cautiously optimistic of what the album would sound like because we got burned so hard from album number 4, you know.
Aren't they
But yeah,
touring though?
are they touring right now? They did, as far as I know, they just done 2 shows. There was one it was either in Florida or Alabama, and that was like kind of like a pre-show to playing Furnace Fest back in September. But since then, I don't think they've been playing any shows. They've just been selling merch. That's it. Yeah, so I'm kind of like, okay, are you back again? It's almost
They
like
just
once
build the
nothing. It's
hype
like,
and
are
then they're
you
like,
back
"Just
yet
buy
or
the
not?
merch." Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm like I said, I like the song, but I'm just like really
It was good.
cautiously
There were some
optimistic. There was
elements
good.
of some
There
old
was
Maylene in
hope.
there.
There was light there, man. Yeah, there was definitely some old elements to it, and that's what got me excited for it. But that's where my cautious optimism comes in. I'm just kind of like, okay, pump the brakes a little bit because I don't want to be like, all right, they're back, man, they're back, and then them come out with an album or not even come out with an album, and just be like, okay, this sucks. So I don't know.
5.
We'll find out, man.
Maylene 5.
Maylene 5, man. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Could be the
Who are we talking
best,
about?
could be the worst.
This is true. Isn't that with every album from any band?
Unless you're Every Time I Die. Then they're all good.
All right, 2005 Doppelganger from Equal Vision Records from Fall of Troy. Josh, the album title Doppelganger was actually from the fact that 4 of the 11 songs were from the self-titled album, and one of those came off of the Ghost Ship Demos EP that we talked about just a moment ago. Songs on is, yeah, I do say, man. Yeah, for some reason, this band likes to re-record previous songs. Obviously, it stops after Doppelganger. But then, like we talked about earlier with their first EP, Martyrs Among the Casualties, all those songs get re-recorded and put on 2020's album. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. But songs on this album include I Just Got This Symphony Going, Act 1, Scene 1, the FC Premix, You Got a Death Wish, Johnny Truant, Mouths Like Sidewinder Missiles, The Holy Tape, Laces Out, Dan. We Better Learn to Hotwire a Uterus. Wacko Jacko Steals the Elephant Man's Bones.
That's an important life skill.
What, to hotwire a uterus?
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know either. Wacko Jacko Steals the Elephant Man's Bones. Tom Waits and the finisher Macaulay McCulkin. Obviously, the big song off of this album that I think most people would associate Fall of Troy with FC Premix. Would you not agree, Josh?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I think that's where a lot of people who didn't
It's a big starting point, yeah.
like seek them out, I mean, they were on
Right.
Guitar Hero.
I was just about to say that hit single was on Guitar Hero, Saints Row, MLB 2K6. I mean, they were everywhere with that song, it seemed like. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think is the most listened to track on this album?
Is it Macaulay McCulkin?
It is not.
Okay. And it's not FC Premix.
It
Right.
is actually.
Oh, it is
Yeah.
FC Premix.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, you were making it
It's the
sound like it
most
wasn't.
listened. It's the most listened to song by
was that?
over. The next closest is Mouths Like Sidewinder Missiles.
And that's just on this album, right?
Yeah. 34 million plays on SCP and 5 million on Mouths Like Sidewinder.
Do you have
That's
like
just-
the overall?
That's just like
for that
Spotify
album.
listens to.
But do you have like overall listens though for like all their albums or all their songs and everything? Because I'm wondering, I'm just kind of interested to see like how much more it is.
No.
Because I know it's number one because Somebody was telling me it was the other day, but
What was number one?
FC Premix
Oh yeah, I mean
out of all their
it's
stuff.
oh
I just didn't know
uh
like in terms of like what was the next one and by how much.
looks like yeah, wow.
That bad, huh?
Nothing else after that, at least, even comes close. Yeah, and even on their older albums, it's
Really?
always FCP that's the highest on like in whatever
Wow.
iteration.
Oh, okay. You're talking about okay, previous recordings.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
And
interesting.
the most listens across like any album is Doppelganger.
Okay.
Like
Well,
there's
yeah.
millions of listens on most of these songs. Symphony has 3, Act 1 Scene 1 has 3, FCP Remix 34 million. Yeah, Sidewinder 5 million, Holy Tape and Laces Out both a million each. And the ones that aren't a million are like just under, like 900,000.
Can we give appreciation to the well, not just the guitar, but I mean like all three of the instruments at like the climax of the song of like the Holy Tape when they go into kind of like that breakdown that's just like the scales. Do 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 do
Oh yeah.
dude. That is
Dun dun dun
sick.
dun dun dun
Sick.
dun
I mean, that is just
dun.
like so that's another thing about that I love about Fall of Troy is like they're so like creative with like their instrument work, you know, and with their vocals too and their lyrics and stuff. I mean, just like overall, it's like sometimes like stuff like that. It's like wow, like how do you even like how did nobody ever think about that before? Like putting that almost like your breakdown, your like climax point of a song. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's a good song. I know it's a good song. But yeah, when I think of Fall of Troy, this is the first album I always think of as Doppelganger. Um, so
Well,
I think it's definitely
Thomas is
good.
definitely like a prodigy, you know?
Oh,
Like the
easily.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff that wouldn't occur to most normal musicians just comes to people like that naturally.
Yeah. This was just naturally, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it is
Got
funny
anything
the
else?
different
Yeah.
ways that people say um FCP. I say FCP remix and you say FC premix. I've
Yeah.
like heard both of those ways
Yeah.
before. So I've heard people who just say the whole thing.
FC
FCP
pre PREMIX.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
man.
what's your favorite track on the album?
Ooh. They're all so good, man. Favorite track.
Yep.
I don't know if I have like just one. I mean, there's just like there's so many good ones. I
You
mean,
can give a couple.
obviously the first three are really good. I love, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
obviously Symphony, Act One, Scene One, FC Premix or FC Remix, what FCP Remix, whatever you want to say, however you want to say it. I love the aggressiveness in Mouse like Sidewinder missiles. Obviously, you know, I just talked about Holy Tape. Gotta love that one too. Laces Out Dan is a good one. So that's what I'm saying. It's like now I'm all of a sudden just like naming all of them.
And now
You
I've
know,
just named the entire album.
is there any others I missed? Any bonus tracks maybe I could throw on there too?
It's a good
No,
one
I
start
mean
to
it's
finish.
just yeah, it's start to finish. It's definitely I feel like it's definitely their most complete album. Manipulator's good, but I just feel like this is their complete album. And obviously, you gotta love Macaulay Culkin, bro, as the finisher.
I wanted to
So
say
many like
too,
twists and turns, man.
yeah. I wanted to say too that it's got the most listens because it's arguably the best album,
Right? Yeah,
but also because it's in that golden era for
this is
this
true.
genre, you know.
Yeah, this is true.
2005. So even by the time that Manipulator comes out, like 2008, like it's already kind of started to fall off a little bit, you know.
Right? Yeah, it's a good
Um,
point. That's a good point.
I
What about you?
think
What's some of your favorites, or do you have one favorite that you can pick out? Or
Act One, Scene One has been my
it's a good one, man.
long-standing favorite on this album for sure.
Yeah, you better lock the doors,
Yep.
turn out the lights.
um, and then yeah, FCP remix like that song's always been so good. I remember the first time I heard it and just immediately being like, I got to get this album.
I think the first song that I ever heard from Fall of Troy actually was Act One, Scene One, and not FCP remix.
Where do you think you heard that at?
You're the one that showed me the Fall of Troy and this album. I think I got the album from you.
Okay.
But I just remember, I think it was either a freshman or a sophomore in high school. When I first heard this album. Obviously, it came out in 2005, but I didn't hear about it until a couple of years later.
Okay.
But yeah, Act One, Scene One was actually the first song that I ever heard from them, dude, and I fell in love from there. So
So good.
so good, man, so good,
So good. Yeah, and then
so
McCoy and
good.
McCulkin, like that
I
just
knew that
ends
was
the
one of your
album
jams.
so
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
yeah, it's a good way to end it. All right, shall
You
we
gotta get
close
in
the
the
book?
car, drive far to the edge of the shore, on
Right,
top of the docks, on top of the
the
rocks.
rocks.
Knock, knock, knock. Why the fuck are the
Open the
doors
door.
locked?
Oh man. You got anything else to say about 2005's Doppelganger?
No,
I
I
almost said
just
manipulator.
no, it just I really love Manipulator. Like it's tough for me to like pick between the two of them,
Hmm.
but I gotta say, whichever way I went, Doppelganger is the better album. Regardless of where I'm gonna
Right,
put my vote on which I prefer. It's the
right.
better album.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and talk about 2007's Manipulator from Equal
Manipulator.
Visions Records. You know, that album artwork right behind you, Josh?
This one.
This one with the diamonds and the people and the turtles eating other turtles. It looked like turtle heads. I don't know. All right, 2007's Manipulator.
I
That's
couldn't
beautiful,
resist. I was
man.
like, I know if I get to a certain point here, I'll disappear.
Boop. All right, we've got a producer. Josh, have you heard this name before? Matt Bayless.
Mm, I don't think so.
Okay, I think you'll be interested to know what albums he's produced. Now he's
What
worked
band was
with
he in?
bands.
What band was he in?
He's a producer, not
Oh, he's just a producer.
no. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
He
okay.
has worked with bands such as Minus the Bear and Pearl Jam, and one Norma Jean specifically. Oh God, the Aftermath
Oh,
album, and gets even better from there, Josh. Because now we're talking about the band that we're going to be talking about after Fall of Troy. We're talking Vanna, the album
oh,
Curses. Yeah, dude.
are we talking about them
Yeah.
next?
We'll be talking about Vanna after
Oh
Fall of
my
Troy.
God.
Yeah, we are bringing it,
We
people.
okay,
We
all
are
right,
bringing
folks.
it.
We are
Breaking
foregoing the
news.
part
Breaking
two of
news.
Fall of Troy. We're gonna skip that shit to get to the Vanna episode.
Patience. Patience. We will get there. All right. So
Which
we
he
got
did the Curses album for them?
he did the Curses album for Vanna. He did the Oh
Oh
God, the
my
Aftermath
God.
for Norma Jean.
Oh
So
my God.
does that is
Now
it does
I
it I
well
was
now I
about to
know why
say
Manipulator hits so hard for
I
me.
was about to say, does that make Manipulator more special for you?
Oh, I think it just like reaffirms. I'm
You're
like,
like, yes.
yeah. I'm like, like I have a hard time not saying it's my favorite.
Right.
You know, like I
Yeah.
really love Doppelganger, but Manipulator, it really hits for me. There's some tracks on there that just really do.
Right. Well, we got Matt Bayless as the producer. This album would be written during a quote really dark time in Thomas Iraq's life.
Is this the heroin time?
And this may be, man. Iraq on the album stated, quote, "We wanted to expand upon our band in every direction, musically and attitude-wise," end quote. Now, drummer Andrew Forsman described the album as, quote, a mix of staying true to our punk rock roots whilst pushing new musical ground. We definitely wanted a more poppy sound. We love good pop, and we wanted to explore what we could do with that kind of sound. Other than that, we wanted to make the songs flow a little better. Instead of riff after riff after riff, we wanted something that would be more cohesive regardless of the specific style, end quote. And I mean, I do agree with that. I feel like it feels a little kind of more poppy kind of sometimes. Um, I think there's less unclean vocals on this album in there, or not really, maybe not really.
No, I wouldn't say
Okay,
less.
about the same maybe as Doppelganger.
Yeah, I'd say
I
it's about the
know,
same.
I know on Unlikely Event they do tone it down a lot on the unclean vocals, from what I've read.
Okay.
Um, but anyway, let's see here.
See, that's probably what was turning me off about it.
Probably so. Now I don't know if Tim Ward has done this for all of their albums, or at least previously. But Tim Ward did create the artwork for this album that you see behind Josh there.
Hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's
A
probably in his
Psycho
drunken
Tim
state.
Ward made
He's a true artist. All right, let's talk about the songs, Josh. Songs include Cut Down All the Trees and Name Streets After Them, The Dark Trail, Quarter Past, Problem, Semi Fiction, Oh, the Casino, Sledgehammer, Seattleantis, Excreations, Shh, if you're quiet, I'll show you a dinosaur, Caught Up, and finally, A Man, A Plan, A Canal, Panama. Oh, palindrome in parentheses, or in parentheses. Let me hear, Josh. What does it for you, man, with Manipulator? Besides Matt Bayless as the producer, apparently.
Cut down. I'm just gonna name off some
Go for
noteworthy
it, man.
tracks for me.
Go for it.
Cut down all the trees, Dark Trail, Quarter Past.
It's a good start. It's a great start to an album, that's for sure.
They always go really hard with the first three.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, they all go so well together. Yeah, I like how Quarter Past goes from like kind of a serenade bluesy
It's interesting, yeah.
song, into a lot heavier. Is it Problem? I think that has that kind of like that little southerny feeling section
I
that
think
feels kind of like the
so.
ongoing concept a little bit.
Yeah, I can't remember. See, I listened to it on YouTube, and it was just one big video, and I just kind of played in the background, so I wasn't like looking at the track list while I was listening or anything. But
Yeah. Do you know
I
those
think
guys,
you're
the ongoing
Huh?
concept? Do you know the ongoing concept?
the band.
Yeah.
The name sounds familiar.
I think you might know them if you heard them, but
Okay.
they have some similar stuff to this. They're nowhere near as good, like,
Okay.
and they're nowhere near as talented.
Okay.
But there's some similar styles happening for sure.
Okay.
And I picked up on that in that song. Oh, the casino's good. Sledgehammer. I really like Caught Up towards the end of the album. I wouldn't mind hearing the album end with Caught Up.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
could agree
do
with
like
that.
A Man, A Plan, but it would be cool to end the album on Caught Up. I just think that would be an interesting
It's a good way to end it. Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song on this album? Or is it just kind of one of those where you're kind of like, it's all really good to me?
It would be a toss up between the first three tracks.
Okay. I gotta go. Personally, I gotta go Dark Trail. I really like that. It's a catchy
Dark Trail's
chorus and
so
everything.
good.
Man. It's a good, yeah.
What's weird is there's not a lot of like numbers wise, there's not a lot of standout tracks on here. They're all listened to roundabout the same. Towards the end of the album, it does go down a little bit.
Yeah.
X Creations goes back up, but the last three tracks are all around 500,000 listens.
Mhm.
But I mean, Cut Down the Trees, 700, Quarter Past, 700. Dark Trail is 1,200,000,
Yeah.
but it's not that's not the 34 million to the 5 million that we saw
Right.
on Doppelganger. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Well, this
Dark Trail goes really hard. Is that featured in anything? Do you know?
the song Dark Trail,
Yeah.
not that I could find. We can look it up real quick.
Sometimes the tracks like that, like I feel like FCP Remix, a lot of people are more exposed to it because, like you were saying, yeah, they used it in several games.
Right.
Um, so Dark Trail, I wondered if that had been used in anything.
Um, hmm. Not that I see. Yeah, not that I'm seeing.
Must just be a popular song then.
Maybe so. Because that was the one thing that, like, growing up, like playing, like, video games, like sports games. That was a big kicking off point for like different, like knowing different bands. I mean, like the way I found like Manchester Orchestra and like really got into them was because of like playing a sports video game. They had
Were they on
one of their
FIFA?
song. No, I think it was a NHL game, and they had one of their songs on there, and I love that song, and
Was
that's
it
where
Shake It
I
Out?
know. I think it was whatever it's the first song on their debut album here. Um, oops. Wolves at Night.
When's that episode coming? I know you're dying to.
They're not in a core genre though, man.
Everyone is in a core genre.
Oh man, let me look them up real quick. See
No
what
one is untouchable.
no one is untouchable in one way or another. They are related.
We'll get to you.
I don't know. Would you say they're post-hardcore at any point in their career?
Sure,
Definitely not.
because then
Definitely
we can
not
feature
new, bro.
them.
Uh, all right, you heard it here first, people. We are stepping aside. We are putting Vanna on the back burner,
Oh
and
God.
we're gonna. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't
Oh,
take that.
you know how you cancel the second part of Fall of Troy? I'm canceling the rest of this episode now, and we're just gonna finish out with the first part of Manchester Orchestra. How about that?
You just pull out a binder and slap it
Right.
down.
Boom. I've been waiting for this day, Josh. I've been waiting. No, for me, that was a big jumping off point for a lot of music that I got into that I'm still into now. With stuff like Manchester Orchestra and such. I think Cancer Bats was on some of those games.
Yeah, probably like
I think of
one
some
of the
different
hockey
ones.
games.
Yeah, just different stuff like that. But yeah, my point was, it always seems like there would be bands like Cancer Bats. I think one of the songs, I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't one of like their bigger songs that was like on one of those games. It's kind of like, okay, that's kind of weird that you put that one on there, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Seems sometimes like they just throw not like a just like a random song, but it's not the song that you would think it would be. And maybe it's just an effort to try to get more listens for like the whole album. There is
Yeah.
more than just this one big song.
I did want
So
to say about Cancer Bats, the
oh, it's coming.
reason.
It's
Oh,
coming.
good, thank God. The reason that I kind of had like a resurgence with them because I liked their first couple albums and then I kind of stopped listening to them. I guess I was just only listening to the older stuff and
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have listened to anything later, but we used to watch this show on Vice and I can't remember what it's called. Maybe like Dead Set on Life or something like that. I think it is called Dead Set on Life. And the like intro to the show, like
Intro
the
music.
opening like montage or whatever,
Yeah.
is that song, Dead Set on Living.
Really? Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, "Oh my god, that song is dirty." I was like, "That is so good." You know, like when a riff's playing, you're just like, when you make that face. Mm.
Yeah. You
Uh,
make these faces right here.
yeah, make those faces.
Who
Um, then yeah, I heard that and I was just like, "Wow!" I was like, "Who is this?"
is
Like that
this?
sounds. I was like, "It kind of sounds like Cancer Bats," especially when he got to the part where he was doing like a little bit more clean vocals.
Right.
I was like, "Oh, that sounds like Cancer Bats." I looked it up, like, "Oh my god, it is Cancer Bats." So I had to listen to that album, and then of course, like they've put out several good ones since that one. I don't know if you listened to any of their newer stuff, but
It's been a long while since I've listened to their stuff. It's one of
have you
those
listened to
bands that I
that
need to go
album, Dead
back.
Set on? It's
I
called
think I
Dead Set on
have.
Living,
It's how
or
old? Yeah, how old is that one?
uh,
It's not like
maybe
new, is it? New.
maybe like 2009.
Okay.
Let me check
Yeah,
real
it's just
fast.
one of those bands that kind of got. It's 2012.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those bands that kind of got put on the back burner. I mean, you remember seeing them for the first time, right? Or like discovering them for the first time?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
at
Silverstein
yeah,
and
the
Comeback Kid
show
show.
is headlining Rise Against
Boo.
um with
I shouldn't say boo.
opening, well, I think like the supporting act was Silverstein,
Yeah.
and then the two openers were Cancer Bats and Comeback Kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, we didn't know Cancer Bats at that point.
No, we went for Silverstein and Comeback Kid. That's who we went for.
Yeah.
And we were just, privileged to find out Cancer Bats. I just
Yeah,
remember
that
that
was
first song that like really like gravitated me to them was French Immersion.
French Immersion. How's that
Yeah.
one go?
Um the riff is down and down, down and down, down and down. What do you say? I'm trying to think what the lyrics are.
Which album is it on?
It's one of the earlier ones. I mean, think about it. We went to that show in '07.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I just remember the music video for that song was like the lead singer just like riding around town on his bicycle singing the song, and like the other members of the band would be like at like random like street corners playing their instruments and everything. But I just remember at the very beginning of that music video, it's like he's walking up on his bike and he's like unchaining it and he's singing some random song. And he's like, down now. And I think your skin is way too thick. Your blades will not cut it. Remember that?
Yeah. I was not on. I thought it was either on the tour EP or oh, what's the other one? Or just like the Cancer Bats EP. It's not
Yeah.
on either one of those.
I wasn't I don't know. I thought it was on a full album.
Let
We're
me
spitting out gold
see.
here, people. Take some notes.
Take some notes down. When we're just riffing like this about different bands, those are the ones you should be listening to.
Forget the band that we're talking about. You need to be listening to these other bands. Oh
Uh,
man.
okay, was it off of Birthing the Giant? That okay, yeah. Birthing the Giant was
The
their
oh
full
06.
length in
Yeah.
2006 because they
Yeah.
put
Okay.
out that
Yep.
self-titled EP the same year.
Yep. That's the one, man. That's the one.
Yeah, same shit. I mean,
Nice.
a couple, well, maybe just one. I think Shalala is the only one that makes it onto this album off of the EP.
Okay.
What were we
Yeah,
talking
Cancer
about?
Bass. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Manchester Orchestra, aren't we?
This is the
Oh
Manchester Orchestra
man.
episode.
Extravaganza. All right, we let's get back on track here. We just got done with 2007's Manipulator. Uh Obviously this album was met with high praise. I I put in the question with best album. I know we kind of talked about, Doppelganger on the last in the last little bit about, probably the more popular album overall in the fan base. But would you think that Manipulator might be the best album that they have, or do you still go with Doppelganger?
I think Doppelganger.
Okay, I based that question off of
My
the
favorite, I
reviews.
think, is Manipulator,
Okay,
but I'm saying
okay,
that I think Doppelganger is
okay.
probably the better album.
Yeah, I just asked that question off based off of album reviews from major review um, platforms and such. So, all right, is where we finally get one member change. Tim Ward on bass would be leaving due to personal issues, and
Oh,
we would be replaced by Frank Ney on bass. So this is
are
where we're going to wrap
personal
up.
issues drinking too much and taking
I'm
a shit
going
ton of
to
drugs?
I'm going to guess that's probably what it is.
Okay.
So because that sounds like a personal problem. So I'm gonna throw that under that category there. But this is where we're going to end the episode here with the 2007 lineup of Thomas Iraq on vocals, guitar, the new member Frank Nin on bass, Andrew Forsman on drums. I wanted to ask you because I know we talked about it just a little bit in at the end of the last episode when we were previewing Fall of Troy. You talked about the band having a lot of issues individually and between all three of them. It seems like I'm not trying to rag on somebody, but it seems like Tim Ward's a big piece. Have you seen that footage? I think it was in 2015 or 16. They were playing somewhere overseas and they were in the middle of a song and Thomas, like, he's singing and then he gets to a part where it's he's just playing his guitar or whatever and he walks over to Tim and he whispers something in Tim's ear and Tim just like he walks away and Tim just kind of like stares him down like really and he stops playing. He just takes his bass guitar off and he just starts like smashing it into the ground and then they ended up like walking off and ended the set right there, I guess, for a little bit, but I think they ended up coming back and finishing the set. Have you seen that footage before?
No.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. I think there was some speculation about like he was like drunk during the set and just kind of like wasted. And I don't know, man. But obviously, you've made mention of Thomas and his personal battles with drugs and such. But obviously Tim has his problems too. I'm sure Andrew may have had his. Um, but I don't know. It's just like what's the deal with this band, Josh?
They just can't.
Can't control themselves.
Yeah, and they just can't get along when they're fucked up.
Yeah,
Is like the
and
thing.
that's unfortunate too because of how gifted all three of them are musically, and like how good they are all three together making music. You
Yeah.
know,
A lot of people said that they were like brothers, that they weren't just
yeah,
like guys in a band, they were like brothers. But then when they would all get fucked up, then they couldn't help but like fight and it just like ruin everything.
yeah. Well, that's
Um
unfortunate, man.
yeah, and there's a lot of drinking and also like heroin use and stuff, so it all just, yeah. I mean, there's just like you were saying about that, there's a lot of footage of them just like shit talking each other or
Yeah.
fighting. Like I saw like a story from, I think it was like a tour manager or somebody who like beat the shit out of Thomas or something when he started
Whoa.
acting up, and then they just handed him a plane ticket and was like go home. Like they had like canceled the tour or something.
Wow.
But
That's pretty sad, man. Your own worst enemy. Yeah. Oh well, that's where we're gonna leave it though, Josh. 2007. When we come back, we'll be talking about the Phantom on the Horizon EP and unlike in the Unlikely Event album,
oh, we're not
and
gonna
we'll go from
oh,
there.
are we gonna talk about the 20 iterations of the OK album?
We will be talking about every single iteration. We
We're
will
gonna
be
talk about
breaking down.
OK 3.1, OK
Uh,
3.2, OK number two. We're gonna talk about those.
we've got a whole episode dedicated to just those albums, Josh.
Just
It's a
okay.
bonus. It's just okay. Okay is just okay. Yeah, no,
Actually, I don't know if these are okay. I wouldn't mind. Oh, if if these were all right, I wouldn't mind listening to some of these instrumental ones though. That's kind of
yeah,
cool.
that's what I was kind of interested in with when it came to that because of again how gifted they are all three musically in their instruments and everything. So yeah, we'll be talking about those two albums plus the hiatus that they go on and the final two albums that they have up to this point. Their 2020 album and 2016's okay,
It,
along with all its different iterations.
is there a difference between okay and okay number two?
Yeah, I think so. OK one is, just their whatever they put out initially. And I think OK number two was supposed to be like basically like a remix of that. And then they did what OK three, which is supposed to be like just instrumental. And then they did like two remixes of just the instrumental stuff. Yeah, it's almost like the drugs were taking over or something. I got a great idea. Let's do a remix of a remix. How
Remix of a
about that?
remix of a remix.
Remix of a remix of a remix of a remix. Yeah. So anyway, make sure to come back for part two of Follow Troy, where we will finish up their history up to the present. Josh, you got anything else to talk about with these first few albums that we have discussed?
Not really. Just, I mean, I think entry point is going to be Doppelganger for most
Mm,
people. Listen to FCP Remix, and I think that's going to encourage you to listen to the rest of the discography there.
I would
If
agree,
you
man.
start with Manipulator, you can start with the first two tracks there. I think that's good.
I think this is a good way. Yep.
Um,
I think so.
yeah, it's a good one all the way through. But yeah, even the early stuff, like the early stuff is so good. You know what I can't wait? There's a million bands like this, but you know what band I can't wait for?
Who's that? Oh, to talk about?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
AFI.
Oh my. Okay. Just because the early stuff?
Oh my God, the early stuff, my man.
Okay. Okay.
The early stuff. Black Sails
Okay.
in the Sunset, or Black Sails at Sunset. The Halloween EP. Like there's
Okay.
oh my
Okay.
God, there's so many good albums. I saw a video the other day of them. It would have been like some of their earliest shows, and just like the crowd was so hype. This tiny venue, like, and they sounded so good. Like they sounded like they do in the first few albums. Like that's one of those bands that really just
Noise.
like any of their stuff you listen to, it all sounds really well done. He just has a really good voice. But
We'll put it in your lineup, sir.
oh, it's coming.
Okay. Good. Good.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I gotta choose how I want to.
Pick a good order, man. Pick a good order.
AFI is gonna be a long one though, man. That's gonna be another like 3 or 4
Yeah.
parter.
And that's something I'm trying to balance too, where it's like, I mean, we just got off of, Every Time I Die. So that's why I did Once Nothing. It was like, okay, this is gonna be a little bit easier. It's just a one part episode. There's not much to it. So it's like when we get something like that, dude, I was thinking about it the other day. Think about when we do like Zayo. Can you imagine that face, man? I mean, seriously,
That's a lot. That's a
that's
lot to
like
cover
a
because
5 or 6 part episode, man.
yeah, because I'm gonna want to spend some considerable time talking about the Lesser Lights of Heaven
Oh,
um
oh, dude,
DVD that they put out
yeah.
too. Like anytime we get into a band that that I've done some serious time
His
with,
cheeks
like
are so
Zayo,
red because he's smiling so hard, people.
we are oh God, yeah, I'm so excited for that one too.
Yeah, but I was thinking about like that. Well, I mean, not even just like how much you love them, but just like think about their discography, dude. They've been around since like '95, and they're
There's
still
so
going.
many albums.
And there's
I'm
so
gonna
many
do a quick
albums.
spot check and see how many albums they have.
Okay, But yeah, there it was. I was thinking about that band the other day, how long that one would be, and I was thinking of like Silverstein. They have a huge discography too. That's gonna be a long one. For Under Oath, of course, we can skip the last two albums, but still, that's gonna be a long episode. There was another band I was thinking of the other day. Stick to Your Guns is probably gonna be a long one. But yeah, it's just yeah. So that's why I'm kind of like I'm trying to like balance like when you get an episode like Zayo where it's like four or five parts possibly. It's like okay, on the back end of that, I'm gonna go easy on myself because you know did a ton of notes just for this one band, so I'm gonna go easy and do like a I don't know some band that's been around that was only around for like a couple of years maybe or something like that that we liked. I don't know,
how many
something
albums?
easy.
How many albums do you think
Zayo,
Zayo has?
is it 12? Is it more?
Oh, it's more than 12.
Is it close to 20? Now, what are you like counting as albums? Are you counting EPs and
At least
full?
17 albums.
And
At
you're counting
least.
EPs and full, right?
Yes. But only like two of those are EPs, and they're the ones that they put out like within
Like
the last 10
recently,
years.
yeah. Wow.
But those are really good. Actually, only
they were
one of those was an EP. The other one was a full length.
Yeah, they're one of those bands, dude. They're just like they stay consistent with we're gonna release one either like especially at the beginning it's like every year, and then it got to the point where it's just like every other year, and they just kind of like stuck with every other year for a long time. It seemed like at least until they went on hiatus for a little bit. But yeah, ooh, that's gonna be a big one. Better bring your big boy pants for that one, man. Bring a snack. Bring your big boy pants, Josh, because that's going to be a doozy.
Yeah, it's going to be long as hell. That's going to be like a 5-parter or some shit. We're going to have to break that one up. We're going to have to do a couple episodes, I think do somebody else, come back.
No, I think that's going to be that's going to be one of our telethon episode where we do 24 hours. We just live stream. We just talk about Zayo.
That's actually not a bad idea.
We might do that, people.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were right. Okay, so like All Else Failed to Splinter Shards is only a year, and then from there it's like so it's 96, 97, 98, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2 and 2003. They put out 2 albums in 2003.
Yeah. These are blue collar boys, man. That's
2006,
for sure.
2009, 2011, 2016, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. They did put out an album this year. I haven't listened to it yet. Oh no, that's a single. That's a single.
Here's the other thing too. That's just the discography. Wait till we start talking about the member changes in that band over that time. It's insane, man. That's probably like one of the worst like lineup changes.
Yeah.
It's like every like month there's a new member. Oh man. Yeah. Good times
they
ahead,
have
people.
A consistent line for a little bit.
They do, yeah.
There's like a run.
It's just like man.
What is it? The fire one. The name is escaping me.
Oh, is it Fire Eyes? Something?
No. It's Where
Blood and Fire. Rest. Yeah, it's a sick album.
From like right there, from Where Blood and Fire Bring Rest through Funeral of God, it's a fairly consistent lineup. There's at least like 3 guys who aren't rotating.
Right. So. Yeah. All right, man. Let's get on out of here. You want to?
Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
Let's get out of here. All right, people. You know the drill. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @IsSurvivedByPro. I know you people aren't following us. I know you hear us. Go on to Twitter. Follow us at @IsSurvivedByPro, people.
You're consuming the media. You're not giving back by just giving the follow or commenting.
Right. We were just talking about this. We were giving you people gold. and you are giving us nothing in return.
Don't you make me Patreon wall this. I will do it.
Oh, we will shut all of you people out.
We will shut this down.
Follow us on Twitter at is survived by pro for news and latest episode postings, not just on this show, the History of the Course podcast, but our other shows too, including the Red Right Hand podcast, which includes all 6 seasons of a rewatch of the show, The Peaky Blinders, and all 10 episodes of the first season of HBO's House of the Dragon, our show, The Throne of the Dragon podcast. And also, while you're on Twitter, make sure to follow my co-host over here at Joshua Lynn Gary. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us and see our smiling faces, head over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survived by Productions, and that'll have every episode from all of our shows. While you're at it too, subscribe to the channel and thumbs up the videos. And if you're on TikTok, check us out on TikTok at Is Survived by Productions. And Josh, what's your TikTok handle?
At Josh the Ghost.
Josh the Ghost, at Josh the Ghost, and is Survived by Productions on TikTok. Go check them out. Give us a follow. Like our videos.
TikTok. Share
on
this.
TikTok.
You know what really helps? Telling word of mouth. Just
Word of
telling people about it.
If you tell a friend and they tell 2 friends, and then those 2 friends tell 2 friends, and then they tell 2 friends, then you got a ton of people knowing about us, man. So tell everybody.
But Curtis, let me ask you this.
Let's hear it.
What if I don't give a shit about core genres? What if I don't give a shit about that?
Well, what do you like instead?
I am really, really into anything and everything that the BBC puts out. I'm a very specific American.
Buddy. You're a weird American. Why are you in America? Just go over to Britain, bro. Yeah, it's like I mentioned earlier, we're not paying attention. The Red Right Hand podcast, you moron. All 6 season rewatch of Peaky Blinders.
They share it. Even if they don't share History of the Course with a friend, they could share Red Right Hand with a friend, or they could share Throne of the Dragon with a friend.
We are trying to give something to everybody. We are all inclusive. Everybody come in. We've got something for you.
We will be even more inclusive when there is a stronger base following here. And then we will be able to put out even more shows about all kinds of different stuff.
We're open to all your ideas. If you want a podcast about NASCAR, we might be on board. I don't know. But if you want a podcast about the mysteries of space, you probably need to go somewhere else.
You probably need to go to some scientists. You need to go to a science bitch.
Exactly. No, make sure to get out there, man. Let everybody know whatever you got to do to get the word out, people. Seriously, follow us. And do all the stuff we just talked about, man. YouTube, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. And hey, if you want to make it easier, just go to Google, whatever search engine you're using, type in Is Survived by Productions. Everything, my friend, will pop up right there in front of you. Now, specifically talking about this show, if you have a band from the core genre you want us to discuss, leave us a comment on any of these services with the band name you want to hear.
I said Zayo.
We're getting there. We're getting there, you bum.
I already told you, Zayo.
You said a lot of bands in this episode, sir.
I expect all of them to be in the next episode.
The next episode. One big mash. Oh boy.
We'll do a mashup episode, like our favorite albums or something like that.
I was about to say in the maybe for the the telethon episode, we go ahead and knock out like a bunch of these like really big ones like Zayo and like Under Oath and stuff like that. Or we just do it the opposite, where you knock out a bunch of like small name bands that just maybe aren't even in existence anymore. I don't know. That's something you people probably don't need to be hearing right now. So. This is off the record. Yeah. All right, that is going to do it for us. Until next episode, part 2. Follow Troy. Make sure to come back to hear that episode. All right, we'll see you.
See you.